Hey guys, welcome to another modeling tutorial. In this video, I'm going to show you how to model this low poly snake plant on Blender. If you straight up just want the model, you can go ahead and download it from the link in the description. Let's get started. I think the best way to model plants is by taking reference images from the real world. So try and go outside and find a plant. If you can't, then find a good reference image online. Click pictures of the leaves with a contrasting background so that it's easier to select it on Photoshop. Here I'm using the pen tool to draw out regions that is to be selected. I find it better than the other selection tools as this gives me a cleaner separation from the background. Once you are done, you can simply hit Ctrl plus Enter and the region gets selected. Copy it and paste it onto another layer. And you can save this image as a PNG. Do the same thing for another leaf as this will help create more variations. You can create normal maps by going to Filter, 3D and Generate Normal Map. Alright, let's open up Blender now and delete the default layout. Start clean. Let's move on to the top view from the Z-axis and let's add a plane. Hit N and change the dimensions of this X-axis to 5 centimeters and Y-axis to 35 centimeters. Once we're done with that, we can hit N to remove that again, and let's add the reference image. You can scale it down to match the plane's dimensions. Once we're happy with that, we can toggle on the X-ray view so we can see the background image. And in order not to select it by mistake, we can turn off the selections for that. And now let's get into the edit mode and add a couple of loop cuts. And basically move around the vertices so that it kind of matches the look of the leaf. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to try and keep it similar to the shape. Now we select a few of those vertices and sort of twist it on the Y-axis so that it kind of follows this twisted profile that the real leaves have. You can do that to the back as well. Now, once you're happy with that, we can turn it around in the X-axis and bring it to the top. Yeah, we don't need the reference image anymore, so we can remove that. So we can put this in shade smooth mode so it doesn't have those creases. And let's add the texture now. Let's go into shading and add a new material. Here, let's rename this to leaf. Once that is done, just hit Ctrl Shift T and we will be able to add those images that we created on Photoshop directly into the material slots in Blender. So make sure the colors are correctly connected. Here in this case it wasn't. So let's connect the color channel to color and the alpha channel to the alpha part in the principal BSDF. Now we can still see that it's still kind of black, so let's fix that by going into the materials tab and changing this from opaque to alpha clip. Now you can see that it has changed that. So let's go ahead and go into the UV editor. Here we will need to unwrap this model so that we can edit the UVs. So just you can do a smart UV project. Once your UVs are seen here, try and match the UVs that have been projected on the left side to the right side. So in order to do that, you can move around those UV vertices. I'm just gonna do that quickly over here. Now, as you can see, it's slowly looking like the profile of the one on the right. Once you're happy with how it looks, we can get started with moving the center axis. So right now it's set in the center of the geometry. We want it to be on the bottom. So we just go into edit mode and pull the model up and go back outside the edit mode and pull it back down. So now when we scale it up or down, it's going to scale from the bottom and not from the center. Alright, so let's start copying these. We don't want too many of the same ones, so that's why we created the other one, if you remember. So let's go around placing these somewhat around the center and slowly giving them a bit of a rotation. We can add a little bit more rotations by giving it like a bit of a curve. This sort of adds a little bit more variations to the model so that not all the leaves are going to look exactly, the same. I've done that with another leaf also, the exact same steps. Now what we can do is create a pot. So this pot is quite simple. We don't really need to worry about the way it looks because the main star here is the snake plant. And since we have modeled it in low poly form, so the leaves are only about 128 triangles. With the pot, it would add up to be a little bit higher, but we can change that with a different pot design or lowering the number of vertices. Here I've just gone ahead and given it a material. Next, let's go into the rendered view. I'll add a light here so that we can see what the normals have done to our leaves. So if you've noticed, it kind of looks a little too bumpy. So the reason is that the strength of the normals have been bumped up a little too high. So we go into the materials of the leaves and go into the normals, and we change it to according to what looks good. I think about a 0.3 would look good. Alright, so next let's just add a plane and extend the edge at the back and bevel it. And then we can make it smooth so it kind of gives that studio vibe. So now we are almost done with the model. So we can do some final touches by giving it a bit of a contrast by adding brightness contrast node and adjusting the contrast a little bit and reducing the brightness slightly. So we're pretty much done with this tutorial. So if you learned something new, give the video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more videos in the future. If you have any questions, you can post them down in the comments below. This model is also available for download along with a few other plant models. The link's in the description. And thank you all, and see you in the next video.